Hey everyone, this is your friendly neighborhood World Film Geek Albert Valance, and welcome to the latest episode of the World Film Geek podcast, where we have exclusive interviews with actors and filmmakers in both global and independent cinema. Today I've interviewed Rick Dugdale. He is the producer and director of Zero Contact, a film that was made during the pandemic in 17 different countries from production to post-production. The film stars the legendary Anthony Hopkins along with Chris Brochu, Aleks Paunovic, and Veronica Ferres. The film will be released in select theaters, on demand, and digital this Friday from Lionsgate. And you get to hear Rick talk about how he achieved this nearly impossible task, but he did it. So check it out, guys, and I hope you get to enjoy the interview and check out the film when it comes out this Friday.
I'm so glad to be talking with you. I saw half of Zero Contact. I'm going to watch the other half today, as a matter of fact. But what I saw, I was totally impressed. I loved these type of movies, especially with the pandemic that hit, that everything is done through Zoom. And this was a great film so far from what I saw.
Amazing. Thank you.
So how did this project come about?
So during the start of the pandemic, we had an international think tank with a lot of the partners we work with. We make films all over the world. So we pulled those guys in and said, all right, how do you make a film if you can't be in the same room together? And we started to kind of workshop this idea, and weren't getting in a lot of places, but Ken Cannon, who works with me, him and I started workshopping this idea that could actually be turned into a script. And he ran with it. 10 days later, we had a screenplay that we looked at and said, wow, this actually works. And it's logistically possible. And from there, we started putting the cast together, and it became real.
Yeah, and what I liked was, the cast was great in this. You have Anthony Hopkins, of course, leading the way. You have Aleks Paunovic, Lily Krug, all these great actors in the movie. And like I said, I just love the fact that they did everything in the Zoom way. And I just recently saw a few films that did the same element, and it worked out really well in different genres. So I saw a horror film that was all on Zoom, and I saw a romantic comedy that was all done on Zoom. Now I get to see a sci-fi thriller on Zoom. So it seems like this is becoming a bit of a trend.
Yeah, it's possible. That's the big takeaway, right? It's possible if you just figure it out. And the one thing we didn't want to do is we didn't want to make anything about COVID, and probably not a horror movie, because that's the first place that people would go to is to try to make a horror film over Zoom. So
exactly.
But you could make something about COVID. People need escapism still at the end of the day.
Exactly. And so how long did shooting take on this project, and were there any challenges in considering the elements that you were working with?
Yeah, this is a film that we tried to make it feel like a real film set. And we had all the production heads, the production designer, and the DP and the editor. Everyone was on the Zooms with us, standing on set as we made the film. This probably took about 6 weeks with a production schedule. Very unique. We didn't really go off a one-liner or any kind of day-to-days, because we were at the mercy of shooting in Japan when they were available. And we did a company move in the middle of the night from Japan to Serbia and then to Stockholm. And so it was as much as the film felt very real, we were kind of at the mercy of how the schedule was going to play out. So the film whole process, though, took probably 6 months. Once we got into post-production and everyone started getting really excited by what we actually had, we needed to take more time. There was a plan to get it out quickly, just to kind of say we've A to Z in 3 months, but we needed to take the necessary time to finish the film correctly. So
you mentioned moving from Japan to Serbia to Stockholm. How many countries did you actually shoot this movie in?
So there's 17 countries that were involved, and that means a lot of the visual effects were done in Russia and Brazil, and we were all over the map. And again, we had technicians that, it was a global pandemic, so we had real professionals that weren't shooting in Japan and Sweden and stuff. So we were able to kind of go to our colleagues all around the world. So I think we actually shot, there's 9 locations, I think, in the film, and a lot of the post-production even added to those countries.
That's insane. That's I think that's unheard of. I think that's got to be that's got to be one of those craziest productions I've ever heard of, like shooting all over the place like that. This is like the equivalent of a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah,
It feels
not
like a
quite the
Mission
same,
Impossible.
not quite the same budget, but it's hard enough to do a company move, 3 blocks away on a film set. Now you're actually going from Tokyo, and you had people like standing by on another monitor. Hey, you guys ready? We're gonna be to you in an hour. Make sure you keep setting up lighting and stuff. And then we would close this Zoom chat in Tokyo. Then we're in Belgrade, and then we'd okay, you guys ready? Get ready, Munich. Almost like a live show. And then you'd patch in, and then you'd replicate that the next day, and we'd be doing different scenes so that one actor is not just sitting on Zoom for 12 hours, right? So you'd do one scene, you'd bounce around the world, next day come back, do the same thing. So, and also people had kids at home in their lives, so they're each of their homes were in a movie studio. So we had to say, okay, for these 3 hours we need to shoot this scene, and then the next night we come back and shoot this sequence for 2-3 hours. So
that's crazy. And how did the cast correspond with that? That must have been impressive for all these cast members to interact in that fashion. I mean, was it done like a movie set where you looked at one screen and then the next person, or was it done separately?
Yeah, so there was some discussion early on that we would have them on the Zoom, and then they would read lines opposite the other actor. But the reality was, this is not a Zoom movie. We use Zoom to stand on set. So there'd be syncing issues, and we'd have to mic up the other guy potentially to get his dialogue that would actually be useful. But, one of your earlier questions, you asked, what are the biggest, logistical challenges? The Wi-Fi signal. So if we had Wi-Fi bad and you actually had the actor reading across from them, then he's going to lose it, meaning lose his mind as well, and lose the performance, and then it would be a waste. So what we did is they were not only not in the same room, they never met each other. We had one kind of table read that not everybody attended. So the kind of lack of chemistry that you would feel on a normal set, because they didn't see him nor were they on the Zoom, that would play into their characters that we as human beings all have felt disconnected for 2 years. So that lack of chemistry played into what this film would be.
That is crazy. But I gotta say, from what it looks like it's a stellar film. I'm definitely looking forward to checking out the rest of it, just where I left off, and seeing how this is going to come out, how this is going to all play out. But what's next after this? What's coming up?
So we are in production right now on Zero Contact Part 2 and 3, which is kind of continuation of innovation, and that is we're not doing them in the same way. Obviously, we're shooting them all around the world. I think we're shooting in 11 countries for real this time. So we started filming in Antarctica in December. It was the first film ever to shoot in Antarctica, which is really exciting. So we're going to open this thing up, and this is going to be a, Indiana Jones-like franchise that we're doing with this.
Oh my gosh. I hope people will check this out when it comes out on Friday. They need to. Just
Awesome.
The whole concept alone. And now that you mentioned that this is going to be the first film to be shot actually in Antarctica, and not a set that looks like Antarctica.
We didn't cheat it.
It's mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing right there.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Everyone's got to check out Zero Contact. It's coming out this Friday. Everyone wants to see something very different, but want to still, enjoy a good popcorn-like film, but in a different type of way. They're going to want to see this. And Rick, you're the man. I'm so excited for this, and I can't wait to see how all this plays out.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Albert. Thanks for having me.
All right, you take care and stay safe.
All right.
All right.